I'm great. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm Zanita, and we with After School Matters. I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions about your intake of community. And the first question I would like to ask you: Have you ever been in a conflict since you moved in this community?
Actually, I have not. No. Had no problems, no conflicts of any sort since I've been here.
And would you see that since you haven't had no conflicts, did you see any conflicts growing up in this neighborhood?
I didn't grow up in this particular neighborhood. I grew up in Chicago, on the south side of Chicago, but not this particular neighborhood, no. And my early years I spent in the housing projects at, say, 23rd and State Street. And I also lived in the housing projects on 29th and Calumet. And during those years, I actually never had any personal conflicts. You know, living in the housing projects during those years was much different than what it became over the years. Upwardly mobile black people moved into housing projects because they wanted something better. And drugs and the gangs were not the order of the day during the early years back in the 50s when I lived in the projects.
Well, how do you think this neighborhood is different from your old one? Like, do you think that it's much quieter, it's much busier, or is it less violent?
Well, I've been pretty fortunate because I live on this block on Kimbark, and it is relatively quiet. Of course, we have a number of vacant lots, which tends to be which tend to be quiet. But we don't have an awful lot of people in this neighborhood. In my experience, in the 4 or 5 years that I've been here, have been pretty positive. I haven't had any problems, and usually it's pretty quiet. We have a little traffic going down Kimbark leading toward the liquor store. But other than that, it's generally pretty quiet.
Do you witness any positive or negative aspects?
Well, I think the positive aspect for me personally is because I am an active member of the Apostolic Church of God, which is located a block and a half from where I live. So I'm able to get to and from my church with no problem at all and without any problems at all. So that probably stands out as being the big positive for me. The negative would be the lack of stores in the neighborhood. Whenever you need to buy something, I have to go to Hyde Park or go to some other neighborhood because we don't have the kinds of grocery stores and those kinds of things that I'd like to see in Woodlawn.
And do you think when we was talking and we did a community video picture collage,
Okay.
we were saying like some of the abandoned buildings, instead of leaving abandoned where young men go up and then stash their drugs, we think it should be turned into a daycare or a youth program for children for the less fortunate kids. Do you think that?
I would tend to agree with that. I also feel that, but with our homeless population continuing to grow, and with our single parents, that population continuing to escalate, that we need more programs would take those kinds of housings and turn them into affordable housing for individuals that need places to stay.
I agree. How does this environment make you feel? Do it make you feel comfortable? Do it make you feel uncomfortable?
I am as comfortable today as I was throughout my life. I've been in Chicago all my life, and basically I've had a pretty positive experience, and I feel as positive about being here as I have in past places. Normally, I'm pretty focused on the things that I'm doing, and I don't take unnecessary chances, but I haven't had any problems, nor do I foresee any.
Okay, and if it was one thing that you would like to see a change in, other than gun violence and murder rates, what is one thing you would like to see change in Chicago?
Well, do I have to limit it to one?
No, it's
I get it. I think that one of the things that I'd like to see changed is I'd like to see, especially in this neighborhood, I would like to see more participation from the owners of a lot of condominiums in these last 2 or 3 blocks. And I have been amazed at the fact that it seems to be that many of the owners are apathetic. They don't seem to care. They don't necessarily come to block club meetings. They don't participate in cleanup functions. And so I'd like to see that change. I'd like to see more people that are owners of properties in this particular neighborhood take ownership to the extent that they will become involved in the community.
So you would like to see more effort in
More effort, more effort. I don't think we need to look outside. I think our initial thing needs to be to look within and ask ourselves, what can we do to improve upon our neighborhood? And I think there is an awful lot of improvement that we can realize in that regard.
I agree, because I see coming down Kimbark, this is actually my first time actually being on Kimbark since I started after school manager job. And I saw, the first thing I noticed when I came here, I saw the emergency button. I think it should be more in the community, not just in the quiet neighborhood, the community gardens. I think it should be more activities, especially for the young kids, to show them how gardening is, then the YMCA up the street. I think it should be more of those. But I also want to ask you, like, how is, well, how can I put it? It says, everybody says it say if you want to see a change, you got to be the change.
I agree with that.
But what are, other than the church program, what other activities are you involved with?
Well, I mentioned the block club. I'm heavily involved with the block club, and so that means an awful lot because we have monthly meetings. You know, whenever there is we try to keep ongoing communication within our organization through Facebook and next door, so that we kind of make one another aware of what's going on as it relates to safety issues. And that's one of the involvements that I think that we need to perpetuate and try to get more people to become involved in.
And you basically just talk about how it comes to agreement on one thing in the block club about things that you want to see change and things that's going positive.
One of the things that I think we really need to do in the community of Woodlawn and all over is learn to start speaking to people. Just to say hello or how are you, and to kind of get to know a person, not necessarily knowing all of their personal business, as it were, but to get to know them to the extent that you would recognize a stranger, to the extent that they would feel free to ask for help if they're in need. You know, I think that that's the thing that we as a community and as a community of black people, as a community of Chicagoans, we all need to get to the point where at least that we kind of not so afraid that we can at least speak to another person, get to know another neighbor.
And how many years have you been in this community block club, and how many years you been living in the Woodlawn area?
I've been living in the Woodlawn, and well, let me ask. First of all, I've been in the Kimbark area for probably about 3 to 4 years now. Just prior to, I lived on Kenwood, a block away, for another year or two. And prior to that, I lived in Chatham for a number of years, where I was in Chatham, and I think that, but my initial experiences as it relates to Woodlawn go all the way back to the time that I was about 8 years old. I can remember when the train station that is now at 63rd and Dorchester was considered a big train station. I can remember my grandmother's sister coming here from New Orleans, and that train station was where people would come and go. I remember that. My early experiences with the Apostolic Church of God, which at that time was located at 6344 South Kimbark. I can remember that there was a large A&P, which was a grocery store chain, located on the corner of 63rd Street. I remember all the stores that existed up and down 63rd Street during those years. The L was accessible all the way to Stony Island. And of course, the buses, public transportation was available, and life was much different. But I think in preparation for this interview today, I started thinking about my earliest experiences with Woodlawn, and they go back to the time that I was about 7 and 8, and it was a major hub, a major area. I lived at that time in the 40s, and I can remember coming to 63rd Street, and it was kind of an experience, you know, a kind of a positive experience. So I think that answers your question.
Yeah, it actually answered both of my questions. I was gonna say, do you notice any change from the first time you got here and to the last, like, to now? But you answered that. And do you think there's more a lot of help when you see littering, people being trashy, being violent, like not friendly neighbors? Do you see that it's a
I see
change?
some of that. I see some of that, and it's not peculiar or particular to living in Woodlawn. In general, I'm gonna tell you, in general, I really feel like living in Chicago and living on the South Side, life is much cleaner now than what it was when I was much younger. All the neighborhoods are a lot cleaner than they were many years ago. So in that area, I think I have really lived long enough to have seen a change. But that is not to say that we don't have more improvement that we can realize. And that's what I would like to see.
Well, I believe like from being in this neighborhood, cause I'm like when I grew up, like I'm still growing up. I have lots to learn about, but I
Sure.
came from the north side,
Okay,
Cabrini Green,
okay.
and like when I moved over
I
here,
used to have an office in Cabrini Green, so I'm very familiar with that area. 984 North Hudson. Yeah.
and I came from that area. It's like once I moved to the south side, I thought that like this was a whole new state. I always thought that, but like now that I'm here, I witness more police attacking people that's walking down the street instead of the people that got guns, like the drug dealers. And I think that the police officers should be the ones that like lurking, like it's still like on King Drive. It was like since I've been there, the murder rate, the shooting, everything went up. It's like, and then it's making me